I'm so nervous to make this video and I'm just pacing, trying to procrastinate this whole process of making a YouTube video because people make it look so easy when you go on YouTube, but it's really not. It's not that easy. I was born and raised in Canada. Hey everybody, welcome to my first ever YouTube video and welcome to my channel. So my name is Ash and I'm the creator of vetabroad.org. It's a website that I started basically to give other students who are considering going abroad a resource to look into and hopefully help you guys because I needed help and I still do need help. But I find if I'm able to at least put my experiences out there into the world, then maybe other people can find that useful as well. So I'm going to be very basic with this video. Like I said, it is my first one. I've never done this, but I might as well try and at least put it out there. So, like I said, I'm a first year veterinary student studying here in Croatia. Originally, I'm from Canada. I was born and raised there. I went to school, I did my undergrad, I did my master's in Canada, and yeah, then I decided to study abroad. So with this video, I have this little sheet that I've written out of points that I want to touch on. So I'm just going to go right into it. Now, basically the title of this video is going to be the 3 reasons why I chose to study abroad, and other people might have other reasons why they decide to study abroad, but these are my 3 reasons. And really the first one, which is probably the most important, is that I chose to study abroad because I didn't get into my first choice school. Now, being a Canadian student, my first choice and growing up in Ontario was the Ontario Veterinary College. It's an amazing school, really. It's world renowned. It's a school that a lot of people would love to get into. And because of that, it's also very competitive to get into. So I applied. It took me 2 years to apply. The first year I did some prerequisites that I was missing. And then the second year I finally applied after my master's. And I had a lot of practical experience. I'll get into those maybe in another video. But I applied is the gist of it. And I didn't get in. I didn't get an interview either. But I thought I was very competitive. But that's okay. So basically, I keep saying the word basically. But anyway, I applied. I didn't get in. But what that really showed me was that I really, really wanted to pursue veterinary medicine. And just because I didn't get in to my first choice school didn't mean that I had to pick an option B or a C or an option D even and change my whole life path because my first choice school didn't give me a seat. So really because of that, I decided to study veterinary medicine abroad and explore my other options. So in order to do that, a lot of people need the money to pay these ridiculous international fees. And I didn't have a lot of money. So basically I had to look at options that I could attend, I could afford, and that I could basically be admitted to. And so that being said, I applied to schools in Canada, US, the UK, Australia, as well as Croatia. So the second option, or not option, but the second reason why I decided to study abroad is because you can still get a great education going abroad. You don't have to stay in North America or in your home country to get that great education. And a lot of people, they did try discouraging me from going abroad. They would have their own reasons and biases, but they would say the education is not up to par. It's not as good as if I was to stay in Canada. If I was to stay in Canada, perhaps the path might have been easier if I got in next year or the following year. But that was just a huge risk that I wasn't willing to take, and to just keep waiting and keep applying year after year and not be guaranteed a position to at least start my education, that's really something that I didn't want to risk. I rather get into a school, get started, and worry about the exams and everything for licensing at the end. But you have to be smart. That being said, you can't just pick any school because you could really shoot yourself in the foot. So what I really experienced with this entire situation was that the education system here in Croatia is not subpar to what it is in Canada or to other accredited schools around the world. Like I mentioned, because I finished my bachelor's and my master's back in Canada, I did a lot of these prerequisite courses that they still have to do here in Croatia because they get in straight out of high school in a lot of these European schools. So things like chemistry, physics, statistics, microbiology, cell biology, these are all courses that I took in my undergrad that I didn't have to take again here in Croatia, which is awesome because I really don't like physics and chemistry, at least not at the basic level. And what I really noticed, because it took a little bit for my exemptions from these courses to get processed and approved, but what I noticed was that basically these courses were a lot more difficult than when I had taken it back in my bachelor's degree. And what I mean by that is that the students here, they really aren't spoon-fed anything. A lot of these professors are the same professors who are teaching the Croatian veterinary medicine program, are also teaching the English veterinary medicine program, and they have the same style of teaching between the two programs. But you're really not spoon-fed anything. You're given the information you're supposed to learn. They teach you and lecture and show you, but now it's up to you to learn the material. You're not going to get always like one-on-one coaching from your professor. You have to use the resources around you. You have to go back to the textbook. You have to look at any resource, really, YouTube videos, online, things that you can find that can help you learn the best that you can. Because in real life and in this education process, you're not going to be spoon-fed everything. It's really the kind of doctor you become at the end is going to be up to you throughout this whole process, and nobody's going to make you a great doctor. You're going to make yourself a great doctor or veterinarian. So that's one really important thing. The other thing I want to touch on is that basically everybody always asks, when you come back to Canada, are you going to be able to practice medicine or veterinary medicine in Canada? And I guess the big question for me is, first of all, do I want to go back to Canada? And if I do go back, of course I can still practice there. There is a bit more of a process. I'd have to do licensing exams and things like that. And they take some time and they are difficult to pass. But like I said, if you put in the time and you put in the energy to make yourself the best student and the best veterinarian you can be, then you're going to learn this material if you're motivated enough to learn it. If you're waiting for somebody to teach you it, you're not going to learn it, and if you learn it, you're not going to remember it. So I think the whole issue with going to a school abroad and then coming back and wanting to practice in your home country is totally feasible as long as you yourself are motivated to go through the steps to do that. But the good thing is that with the school here in Croatia, if I choose to stay in Europe, it is accredited by the European Union. They have a accreditation called EAVE. I forget what it stands for, but it's to do with the European Union and countries that recognize the program here as worthy of teaching all the materials that are necessary for veterinary practice in the EU. So if I choose to stay here in Croatia, that's an option. If I want to go to France, or if I want to, for example, go to Germany and practice there, or Italy, Spain, I have all these options, and I'm not only restricted to Croatia as my only option. If I decide to go back to Canada or to the US, I can do that, but there's a bit more of a process. I have to write some exams. Now, the last thing I want to touch on when it comes to great education is it's a little different from the formal aspect of education, but you get to meet so many different kinds of people when you come to an international veterinary school. And just being here in my year right now, we're the 5th generation of students in the English program. And we have students from literally all around the world, people from Japan, people from Sweden, Norway, Germany. Lots of people from France come here because it's also very difficult to get a position at a French veterinary school. We have people from Belgium, from Slovenia, really all corners of the world. Even people from Africa and Namibia and South Africa are attending the program with me this year. And as far as North America is concerned, I'm the only Canadian student this year. There's a couple upper year students that are also from Canada. And then there's a student from the US as well in our generation. And then the last thing I want to touch on is my third major point, and this is that veterinary medicine or any kind of school abroad can be very affordable or more affordable than what you might think. So for the English program here at the University of Zagreb, where I'm studying, it's the capital city in Croatia. It costs about 9,000 euros per year. Convert that into the Canadian dollar, we're looking at about $14,000 Canadian, and that's very comparable to what the cost would have been if I stayed in Canada. The only major difference is the program here is 6 years. The first 2 years are your core sciences, then you start to get into your clinical work, and then finally doing rotations in clinic at the 5th and 6th year. But there's more years to do here, but the cost for tuition is similar. Whereas if I had decided to go to some of these other international schools, they are 4-year programs. They are accredited for you to go back to North America. But there's a big cost that's associated with that. And what you end up realizing is that tuition is about $50,000 or $60,000 Canadian per year. It's a 4-year program, so that brings you to about $200,000 in just tuition. And then if you're studying in a city, for example, like Dublin, rent in Dublin, I don't know, but it's definitely more than Canada, and it's definitely more than what I'm paying here in Croatia. And then cost of food in cities like that are also much more expensive. So just to put some things into perspective, here in Croatia, if you wanted to rent a studio apartment, you're looking at about $600 Canadian per month. That includes your internet, your hydro, water, and the cost of rent. And it's in a great area. You're living close to city center, clean, and a good neighborhood. The other thing here is the cost of food is much more affordable. So basically you can eat healthy. You don't have to live on this student diet and basically, give yourself the scraps of what you were used to eating back home. You can eat healthy, you can eat well, and you can do it without spending a whole lot of money. So for example, here for 1 week's worth of groceries, I could spend about $30 Canadian, and that would give me a lot of great vegetables and produce. I don't eat a lot of meat, but it gives me a little bit of meat if I want it, and just lots of fruit and great things that keep you going when you're studying and when you need that extra energy. It's good, healthy food that is going to keep you strong. Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I would touch on is really the fact that the quality of life here in Croatia is much better than what I think I would have gotten if I went to another program in another country. If I stayed in Canada, it would have been great. I have my family, my friends, people that I'm familiar with are there, so it would have been great, but it would have been very different as well. I wouldn't have the same opportunity for growth and for learning about not only myself, but others. Like I said, so many people from around the world are living here and studying in the same program, same kind of position that I'm in. But also I'm able to have like I said, good quality of life. I can go to the cafe and spend $3 on a cappuccino and do some studying. I can pick up lunch at the end of the day from a takeout place that'll cost me $2 Canadian. And being from a country like Canada, I'm very fortunate and in a great position to be able to enjoy what the cost of living is here in Croatia. For other people, it can be more expensive coming from other countries where the currency is different. But for me, it's been very, very welcoming, for sure, to say the least. And that's really it. For this video, I've kind of covered 3 major points why studying abroad was the best decision for me. As a quick recap, the first decision or first reason why I chose to study abroad was because I didn't get into my first choice back in Canada. The second reason that I chose to study abroad was because it offers a great education, both formal education in veterinary medicine, and you're able to meet so many different kinds of people and learn from them as well. And then the third was because it was a lot more affordable than I thought. When you start reading forums, you can get really freaked out by the crazy costs that some of these programs can charge. But when you start digging around and you really think about what you're going to spend your money on, you can see that it's more affordable than you might initially think. So anyway, that's it for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to make more in the future. We'll see how things go. If you want to check out my blog/website, I post on there pretty often. So I have a blog and we're doing some case studies as well. So check it out. Hopefully it helps you guys out. It's definitely been great for me to write it. It's a way for me to get my thoughts and ideas on paper, not really paper, but online, and put it out into the world and hopefully help others. And if it doesn't help others, it's great for me just to do some writing and keep my mind busy. So check it out. It's called vetabroad.org. It's written down in the comments, not comments, I'm so new to this. It's written in the description of the video below. So check it out and let me know what you think, and I will check in the future. Thanks a lot. Bye.